In today's episode, Susanne and I are going to be talking about the importance of connecting to your intuition and to listening to that gut feeling as you create. We're going to be discussing why you should come to your journal practice without any preconceived ideas. And we're also going to have some beautiful visual cues for you to be able to visualize yourself as you start your very own creative adventure. I had so much fun in this interview, and I know you are going to love it too. So let's get into it.
Gotta get messy and show the world you growing as an artist. And you're free to be yourself. You got a dream, you need to start it. Stick together. Get messy says you're formally invited to a community where you can find people that spark the feel of excitement. Too many art supplies, not enough time. No, it's tougher, so you must find a way to feel some connection. We got a lot of people with the same kind, a great mind. We here for you, a platform so we can hear your views. Time's yours, forget chores. I know you bored of them same rules.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Get Messy podcast episode. Today, I'm going to be talking to Susanne, and I am really excited to be able to talk to her about her creative adventures. I absolutely love her playful and innovative spirit that she brings to her creative practice, and I know you are going to love listening to her insights too. So, let's jump right in. Susanne, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hello, everybody. I'm Susanne from Susie's Journal Adventure. If you know this introduction, you probably might have seen some reels or some content that I make. And I'm totally passionate about everything about journals, art journals, junk journals, mixed media, and everything you can do with that. And I'm really super excited today to be with you, Claudette, in this chat. And yeah, it's a
Oh,
real
thank
adventure
you.
for me.
It is an adventure, is a big part of your creative focus.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think adventure is a word that incorporates this explorer thing.
Mm.
We're explorers. We don't have to do anything perfectly. And yeah, so I thought this is perfect.
Mm. Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. And it really does capture that spirit that you bring to your creativity. So, um, while you are talking about your introduction and reels, I love that you are so playful in how you present your content online. Do you want to tell us a bit more about how you keep that creative spirit going in your practice?
Do you mean everything about the technical thing, like editing the stuff, or
Whichever you would like to chat about. I love all of it. I love the way you create. I love the way you edit your reels. I just love all of it. So I want to hear
oh, that
all
makes me
about
happy.
the stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's mostly important to just let go, and this is the essence. I think in everything that I do and that I share, and when I sit on my desk in my studio, in 99% of the time I don't have any idea what I will end up with when I'm
Mm.
finished. I just sit there and look around me and see my mess and all the things that are laying around. And then I start with sort of like a prompt or a word or anything. And then I just let go. And this is
Mm.
um, how I create. And yeah, yeah,
Is is
that's,
it
I
is
think
it part
basically this is.
Yes, I'm wondering if um, that free energy that you've got in your creativity, is that something that you bring to all of your life? Or
N-
are you very organized behind the scenes? You actually have everything nicely organized in spreadsheets or whatever, and that your creativity is an outlet.
Yes, you're you just got the right intuition. Yes, I love everything about routines and structure. So when you enter my studio, this is like another identity. Yeah, it's like a, a totally different thing for me, and I guess
Mm,
that's what I need to balance everything out.
mm,
Um, I think, yeah, this can only work together. The structure on the
mm.
one side in I don't know, 90% of my life, and then the real chaotic situation in my studio, in my journals, on my desk. And yeah, you're totally right, Claudette.
Oh, I'm so glad. It feels good to be able to think, to know that I'm still, my intuition is still there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, so here's the picture that comes to mind when you're talking about your life in your studio, that if someone had to open your studio door and step in, it would be like Alice falling down the rabbit hole.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean,
They've stepped into
there.
a totally different world.
Yes, it's a total surprise, and it's a really safe space at the same time,
Mm,
because I would not allow everybody to enter my studio.
mhm.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is um, there must be a good connection and trust
mhm.
between the person and me before I say, okay, come in.
I love that. I absolutely love that because it shows the sacredness of your practice and of your space. The sacredness that it
Yes,
holds to you in your life.
yes,
Mm,
yes,
that,
absolutely.
that's beautiful. I love it. Okay, so I am now even more interested to know, how did you get to this point where you are creating art and sharing it online? What did that journey look like?
Mm. Um, well, I was creative um, since I was a child. You know, I draw. I drew. Yes, I drew. Is
Mhm.
that right? Yes, I drew.
Yes.
I painted, and I remember me collecting catalogs. I don't know.
Mhm.
There today you can barely find catalogs like they
Yeah.
have been. Let me say
Yeah, it's
35
like,
years ago.
yes, yes, it's true. We used to get like all sorts of inserts and catalogs and promoting stuff, but now it's
Yes.
all gone digital, right?
Yes, yes, and it
Mm.
is so sad because I remember, um, uh, well, how do you say, stores where you can buy fragrances?
Mm.
What are
Yes.
they called in English?
Perfume stores?
Perfume stores. Yes, perfume stores, and they had really high quality ads in them from
Mm.
Gucci, Prada, and all that stuff, and they absolutely amazing quality and thick paper
Mm.
and high glossy and everything about that, and I hoarded them. And I just flipped through them, and I thought it was not about the advertising.
Mm.
Basically it was about the feeling and the wow and the
Yeah.
colors and everything. And I hoarded this, and I couldn't do anything with them because
Mm.
I treasured them. And I think this is one of the things that um, that I uh, live in my art
Mm,
today, still live in my art today. Um, the love for paper and the sounds and all that
mm.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It comes through in your reels, right? The way you film your
yes,
reels with the sound, and you've got a love for, as you say, that high gloss, because a lot of the stuff that you use is reflective, or it's got texture or really intense color. So I can definitely see that influence having gone through into your art now too.
yes. And then I did everything when I was a child. Then I switched materials, and I had a time where I did things with wood,
Oh.
and I made decorations that you can hang on the wall, or that you can display in your shelf for some years. And then I switched and started sewing. I sewed clothes and, well, more of that kind of stuff. And then I was totally into fabric and threads. And I tried knitting, but I found out this is totally not my thing. Um, because I was freaking out when how do you say that in English, when one of the things
Oh,
that
when
you
you drop
knit.
a stitch.
Yes, genau. When you drop a stitch, and I was totally lost. I didn't know what to do now, and I couldn't figure it out. You know,
Mm,
I'm a person who really loves to um, I can dive deep into things that
mm.
I don't know yet, and I watch YouTube tutorials and things. But knitting, no, I decided no, this won't work for me. And yeah, did crocheting.
I haven't. I
And
that is one thing that I just can't do. I've tried. I don't
okay.
understand that. My brain can't understand what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, really? Because of the 3D thing,
I
or
I don't know if I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be, but I just don't understand how the stitches are going together. I don't know. My brain does not
okay.
understand
Yeah.
that.
And I think this is what I have with knitting. Yes.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and then somehow I don't know, I discovered junk journaling. This was my first step then further, and I realized, oh, okay, what I did for years, like keeping, for example, a travel journal when we were on vacation. Oh, it is called travel journaling. I didn't know at that time that I did travel journaling. Um, and I thought, okay, what's that? And
Mm.
so, yeah, then came junk journaling, and I think the step to art journaling. I mean, is
Mm.
anyway, it merges
Yes.
together. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That
and
like junk journaling, travel journaling, art journaling, it's like three sisters maybe.
yes, yes. And then I think with art journaling, I discovered, oh, I can do everything that I
Mm.
did my whole life together. How gorgeous is that?
Ah, yeah, and I love that. I love your story because now it makes sense because you use a lot of stitching and a lot of fabrics and threads in your work, and it's very textural. So It's beautiful to
Yes.
see how they've all come together in this one magical space.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I think I love all these things. I have times when I can't decide what
Mm.
to do now. Do I want to tear papers and just glue down and collage something without any other stuff? Or
Mm.
shall I go to my shelf with the fabrics and sew something? And sometimes I'm totally overwhelmed, Claudette.
Mm.
What to do?
Yeah, it gets difficult, especially when you've got so many different interests and
Yes,
you love them all and you want to do them all. It's like I keep saying, I need more time. There is not enough time in a
yes,
day, in a year, and in a lifetime to do all the things that I want to do. It's very frustrating.
absolutely. Yes. So
Yeah,
do you also like all that stuff?
I do. I do. I love all the things. And knitting and the crochet is something that I wish I could do more, or that I could actually just do, never mind more. I wish I could do it too because I love I just love the idea of all of the things, sewing and yeah, I want to do everything.
Yes,
I think it's just different ways of expressing your creativity, right? It's just yeah, they're all
yes,
beautiful. All just
yes.
beautiful. Mhm. Yeah. Um so talking about more time, I was, sometimes I think who needs sleep because,
Hmm.
you know, we want to do. And the other thing is just um, so many ideas. I'm sure you have the same thing. There's so many ideas that you want to put into action, so many different things that you want to explore and create. And so that I find overwhelming too. It's like, am I going to create this idea or am I going to create this idea today? Which one is going
Yes,
to win?
yes.
Yeah. Hmm. So have
So
you
and
got a
sometimes
way? Yes, sorry, you go ahead.
sometimes I end up doing nothing, Claudette. This is
Yes.
terrible, I think, because my brain uh
Mm.
is
Overwhelmed.
totally overloaded and
Mm.
empty at the same time when I think about
Yes.
or when I go in my studio and I see all the materials. Sometimes I think, oh gosh, I have to
Mm.
get rid of half of the stuff too. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I do nothing, but then I think, okay, that's
Mm.
okay for today or for
Mm.
this week or even for this month. It's okay to do
Mm.
nothing. And I know I will come back. I know this.
Mm. Yes. I love that. I love that you know that because I have the same thing, right? Sometimes you get so overwhelmed that it's almost like you're paralyzed by having to just make a choice in what you're going to
Yes.
create or where you're even going to start. And it can last for quite a long time. I've been in a period at the moment where it's been a few weeks where I know I want to create, but I just can't get myself to start. There's so many,
Mm.
it feels like there's so many things that I want to do that I'm just doing none of them. And yeah,
Yes.
it can get quite frustrating. So I love that you've given yourself the permission to just say it's okay. I know I'll be back when I'm ready, and it's just letting the ideas sort of sort themselves out in your head for a while.
Yes. So what do you
Mm.
do, Claudette, when you are stuck in this situation?
Well, at this stage, I decided I love reading too. So I thought I'll read some books, but at a point, I thought that I'm almost if you read The Artist's Way, I don't know if you've ever read Julia Cameron's book,
No.
The Artist's Way. In one of the chapters, she says that creatives often use reading as a way to almost tranquilize themselves. So each little word that you consume is like a little tranquilizer pill that you take. And so it often stops people from creating. They'll use reading as a substitute for creating. Um, And I definitely felt that in this time where I didn't want to create, I was reading, I was like, "Oh, I have to read this book and I have to read this book and I have to read this book." And so it became a way of procrastinating, right?
Yes.
That was so so what I decided was I was just going to do some swatching, do some color swatching, and I just divided some pages up and I thought, okay, I'm just going to do some mark making in each square and just allow myself to have absolutely mindless creativity. There's no point. I'm not going to create a journal spread. I'm not going to try and produce any kind of work. I'm just going to do swatching. I'm going to cut out magazine images and I'm going to make marks. That's all.
Yeah,
And so
that's
that's what I've been doing
perfect.
for a few weeks, is just like,
Yeah.
yeah, doing stuff with no purpose.
Yeah. Sometimes
Yeah.
when you open a journal and you see a white page, this is,
Mm,
the fear of the blank page. I totally feel that. And this
mm,
is the worst thing you can do, I think, when you're in such a situation where you don't feel
mm.
like creating, to open a journal and see a white page. This is
Yeah.
crazy. So,
Mm.
yeah. So last
Yeah.
week, I guess I had such a day, or I don't know, several days where I
Mm,
felt like this, and I just saw all my scraps. I have maybe some baskets full of scraps, and I thought, okay, I will take this one in front of me
mm.
and I will just glue down some clusters. And I
Oh,
made some clusters,
mm,
and I watched YouTube, some, I don't know, yeah, some creative
mm,
stuff. And I watched YouTube and I did my clusters, and I ended up with, I don't know, 15 super fun clusters and this made me happy. And I thought,
yes.
okay, I'm still
It
here.
makes exactly, it does. It makes a difference. It shifts the focus of the creativity, right? Like I'm just going to make clusters. I'm not going to have to do some big page. And as you said, that
Yes.
confrontation of a blank page is sometimes just too much, but just sticking
Yeah.
down some papers can lead to amazing places.
Yes. And
Mm,
the important thing, and this is, I guess, also one thing that is really important when I create, is don't overthink. Don't think at all. Don't
mm,
think at all if this pattern on this tiny scrap matches this color on this other
mm,
scrap. Just glue the one thing on the other
yeah.
and don't think at all. And
Mm,
this is, um, I think, the most important thing in creativity.
mm.
Just
Yes.
connect to your, how do you say, gut
Yes.
feeling,
Yes.
or your,
Mm,
and um, just leave your brain like outside of your body and just do with your hands
mm,
where your feeling guides you.
mm. Yes. Yeah. I love that. That is beautifully said. I'm writing this down. I love it. Okay. So the other thing that I think, um, as we've been talking about this, right, is this that back to that feeling of play and just following the process. So how do you like to connect this inner child of yours, this playful spirit? How do you strengthen the bond between you and that gut that's going to help you to just create and not use your brain? How did you manage to get to a point where you've got the abilities to say, okay, brain, you sit there. I'm going to create for a while.
Yes, I think it's mm, there are some mm, uh, circumstances in the outside of you. How do you say,
Mhm.
inner circumstances and outer? Is that right?
Yes, that's
Yes,
it.
there are
Hmm.
some outer circumstances, I think, that that makes it easy. And this is, I think, to have a space where you can create, to really have a space. I think you don't have to have a studio, a room where you that is only meant to create in. This can be a tiny corner on your kitchen table, but something that you decide in your brain, this is my place. I think that because when you walk in your house or in your flat, you just and you walk by this place, this is just like knock knock, here is my place. And this reminds you to, okay, there is something that brings me joy, or that that gives me energy. This is, I think this is important, that here the magic happens here.
Yes.
And then you have it easier to get in this creative process, or to allow yourself to carve out time to sit down here and just glue one scrap to another. And then I think it's also important to have a little to be consistent in creating,
Oh.
because we know from the science that does research in how our brain functions. We know that that there is a kind of a law. It's a law: use it or lose it. You know, this is
Yes.
how our brain works: use it or lose it. And we know this is a fact, a neuronal fact. And this is whether you use a language like I do now, use it or lose it, or you use your creativity and you practice your creative routine. And then you can let go of overthinking, and you can let go of your brain, and you practice this connection to your gut.
Yes. So the more you're going to use this, you're going to create a neurological pathway, right? You're going to have a highway between you and that gut. It's like I'm seeing like someone walking backwards and forwards. You know, when you walk a trail into something?
Yes.
Yeah. I love that
And
idea.
this is like, in the beginning, it is something like it is a tiny path through the jungle, and there is trees and all that wilderness and dangerous animals that want to keep you away from being creative. And you don't know, oh, here's a big I have to climb up this hill. I don't know what it ends up, what the way ends up behind this hill. And this is dangerous, and you sometimes want to stop it, because sometimes you feel like, oh, this is effort.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
but the more you use this path, the more you leave your footprint, and the
Yes.
path gets wider, and it gets more comfy to you, and you know what happens. And your brain, and this is when your brain can stop working, when when you just feel like
Yeah.
feel what you do and not know what you do.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yes, you've said it perfectly. Perfectly.
It's
So
really
yes, but I was
difficult for me.
No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Um, Here's what I was thinking. So we've got our little path that we're walking on and we're enjoying it. We've exercised the muscle a bit. We know what's happening. I think I'm at the stage where I was like having a nice stroll and a branch whacked me in the face.
Yes.
And I fell on my bum. And yeah, so that's where I am, right? At that overwhelm, sometimes the paralysis that you get is maybe just a branch whacking you in your path. Uh, so the important thing is to get up, dust yourself off, and to keep going because you know that
Yes.
it's a beautiful path. You know that it's leading to a good destination. But every now and then something happens, or you trip over a stone in the path, right?
Yes.
You've knocked your toe and it's a little hurt, but you've just got to keep coming back. That consistency that
Yes.
you were talking about, just keep
Yes.
coming back. Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's I think you might sometimes need some things or people that help you
mm.
to get up
Yeah.
when you've fallen. And this is
Yeah.
also important for you to know what helps me
Mm.
to get up again and go further. And this
Yes.
can be anything like, okay, I'm looking, um, I I look at this post from this artist that I love. Okay, just watch it. Or I'm connecting in any other way with
Mm,
people that inspire me and with artists that inspire me. But this doesn't have to be artists, I guess.
mm,
It's everything. It can be nature. It can be a color of a shirt that you have, or it can be anything. And I think this is also important to know, to have this as a
mm.
tool in your, how do you say, toolbox?
Yeah, your toolbox. Yes,
In your, as a
absolutely.
tool in your toolbox when you walk this path and you know, okay, when I fall or when I'm lost, I have these tools here.
Yeah, I love that. What I wrote down here when you started talking about the tools, I wrote you need a creative first aid kit.
Yes. Exactly.
You need to know how to heal yourself when something happens, but tools also
Yes.
works. I love tools too because sometimes
Yes.
um you need something that's just going to be able to help you lift yourself up and dust yourself off again, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. Well, we have gone down a rabbit hole of a beautiful visual illustration. I love it. If anybody ever listens to this episode, they're going to have this stuck in their minds the rest of their lives. If
Oh,
they hit a
that's
creative roadblock, they're going to have been walking in a very dangerous creative jungle.
this would be great.
I think that is just such a fun way of looking at your creative practice. Mm.
Yeah, and I think this is a working with those images in your mind
Mm.
is makes it easier to uh, to have them at hand when you need them. You know,
Mm.
our brain works like works the best when you have mm, uh, mm, all your senses included in what you learn at this moment.
Mm.
Um, so when you have an image, or you know, okay, this is the smell that relates to
Mm.
this image, and this is the sound that I heard when I did this or that, and this feels like, you know, well, here we
Mm.
are, textures
Yeah,
and papers. Oh, it feels
yeah.
like this when I do
Mm.
this, and this is like a cluster in your
Yes.
mind, um, and when you um, uh, when you want to remember this, for example, this image of the path, or anything other you want to remember because it is important for you,
Mm.
it is the best way to include all these senses.
Mm. Yes. Oh, it would be a beautiful visualization to have, right? To just take a few minutes and to really visualize yourself going into a jungle. And like you say, what birds can you hear? What does the air smell like? What sounds are there when you're walking? And just to make it more real to yourself, it would be a
Yes,
beautiful thing to just take some few minutes and to visualize it.
yes.
Mm.
I mean, this is why we, most of us can eat their favorite meal of the childhood. It's because there are so many senses included.
Mm.
It's a memory of where I sat. It's a memory of how it smelled like. It's a memory of how it tasted like. It's a memory of which persons were included or
Mm.
cooked this meal, for example. The sounds of the dishes or anything. This is, yeah, this is
Mm.
because our brain works the best when these senses are, how do you say, uh,
Yeah, when they're
are
all
addressed.
included, right? Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
When yeah. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so here's another one that I've been thinking about while you've been talking. Um, if you are able to put your creativity in this visual image that we've created now, right? Where you are walking on a path and you are tripped by a rock or hit in the face by a branch. Um, I think a lot of times when people feel overwhelmed or they have a creative block or they maybe feel as though they're not creating the art that sometimes you feel like you have a picture in your mind, but when you create it, it doesn't look like what you wanted. And so that can become very discouraging. And a lot of times people can then say, it's me, I'm the problem. I'm not creative enough, or I'm not good enough to be able to create images that I visualize in my head. Um, and if you have this analogy that you're walking on this path, it's not you, it's just that rock that you knocked your toe on, right? So I think it helps us to then realize it might just be a phase, or it might be that you need some creative inspiration, or you just need to try using different supplies. So it takes that pressure off of you, the problem, and makes it into what is the thing that I tripped over. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, absolutely. But I also
Mm.
recommend, Claudette, to not have a picture in mind when you start creating. I think uh, this is even better. And this is
Okay.
basically
Okay, you
the
win.
way. I know a lot of people have, as you said, a lot of people have a picture in
Mm.
mind when they sit down on their desk and and they
Yes.
think, okay, I want to have this as an end result. Um,
Mhm.
and to be honest, I don't have this. I had
Mm.
this at the beginning, definitely, and I'm sitting here and I know I can't draw or paint in the classical way.
Mm.
Just can't do this. I just can't do this. And um, so in uh, when I was, or I know I'm still on this path, but I recognized, okay, here was a certain, when different paths, uh,
Mm.
when the path splits. How is it called? Crossroad?
Yes,
No.
yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
a crossroad. When you are there was a crossroad, obviously. And I just can say this in the retrospective.
Mhm.
There was a crossroad when I obviously decided
Mm.
to not have a picture in mind when I start creating. anymore, obviously.
Yes.
Um, yes, and this is just the best way because then you don't have this, oh, here's the
Mm.
picture, this is how it should look
Mm.
like, and here is what I look at when I
Yes.
look at the page.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a whole journey on its own, right? To get to the
Yeah.
point where you realize you should just arrive at the page and allow what needs to come out and not try
Yes.
and control it so much. But it's a natural instinct in the beginning to want to control it. And that's why I say a lot of
Yeah.
people on that journey, they're like, okay, but I wanted it to look like this and now it doesn't. And now it's me. I'm not creative enough. I don't have the
Yeah.
skills. But as you're saying, when you get to that crossroad and you realize that you should just allow it to naturally become what it wants it to become, you give yourself a lot more creative freedom and you take that
Yes.
pressure off of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
And
But it's a
you can
journey.
even discover new things on this
Yes.
path, on this journey. You suddenly see here,
Mm.
a plant that you've never seen before on this path, because in the beginning this is just like this is your view, your perspective.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
narrow. Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yes.
when you allow yourself, everything can happen. You
Mm.
suddenly see, oh, I've
Mm.
never thought about this color combination, or I would have never put this scrap on this or use
Mhm.
this material on this, or yeah.
Yes. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Yes to everything that you've said. That is so good. Wow. Okay. And you have been teaching a lot. I think even in your reels, you teach, right? You might not set out with the intention of I want to teach people something in my reels, but it's you very open in sharing your creativity, your practice, your process. Um, do you find that inspiring other people to create is a big part of why you are sharing and creating?
Yes, definitely. I think
Mm.
the whole process is um, this is the whole thing um, that I love. I love my scraps, my colors, and everything. And I also love the technical thing.
Mm.
I know
Mhm.
there are a lot of, no, not a lot of, but there are artists who say, oh no, leave me alone with this. I don't
Yes.
like it.
Yeah.
But I love it. I
Mm.
love doing this technical thing, editing things. I think this is part of the, no, not part of the process, but this is a yeah, another
Mm.
thing. And I love then connecting with the art community, art journal community.
Mm.
And yeah, this goes perfectly together for me.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Um, I think it takes a certain level of confidence too, right? To get to the stage where you feel that you actually have something to say and to share. And it's beautiful when you reach that point where you can be inspiring other people and have the openness to share that.
I'm still struggling sometimes, because you said well, the thing about confidence and all that stuff, to
Mm.
share the art and everything. I think it's, yeah, I regularly have times when I struggle, and when I doubt whether This is good enough
Mm.
uh, to share, or even if I won't share it at all, whether this is good enough.
Mm. Yes.
And this is, I guess, an issue that a lot of us
Mm.
struggle with, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is. That's why it's so interesting to hear you saying that, right? That even I struggle to say, is this good enough? Because I look at your work and I think it's beautiful. And I wouldn't say that you would struggle with that, but it is the reality that everybody who's sharing their work or just being open to saying, hey, look at what I created, there is definitely a part of us that sort of wonders, what are they thinking? Is this good enough? Is somebody looking at it and thinking, why the heck did she share that? Um,
Yes.
so I think especially for people that are new to creating and they want to share their work with the world, but a lot of times are questioning, is this good enough? I think the messaging is, share it. People would love to see what you're creating.
Yes. Yes.
Mm. But that is a whole process all of its own, right? Is to get to the point where you feel, yes, I would like to share this.
Yes. I mean, I still
Mm.
remember when I posted my first post on Instagram. I still remember I was this is I thought, oh my gosh, you can't do this. This is
Oh,
not this is a disaster. You can't do it. I'm not prepared for the comments, or
yes.
it is no, don't do it. Don't
Oh,
open an Instagram account.
I love that you did it though. I love that you had the courage to say yes. What made you deep down inside say, "Yes, I'm going to do it"?
Hmm.
Is there a
I
bit of a
don't
rebel
know.
in you?
Maybe yes. I thought I don't know. I just felt it at this moment.
Mm.
This was I remember the day, and
Oh, that's
I remember
amazing.
the day and where I sat, and I thought, okay, I will do this now. And then
That
I
is
made an
amazing.
Instagram account, and in this moment, I my gut said, okay, this is Susie's journal adventure,
Mm.
because it felt
Oh,
so adventurous at
mm,
this right in this second. This was yeah, and I my brain was totally shut down
mm.
at this moment. I just did it. I don't know, and I'm super happy, of
Yes.
course, that I
Oh,
did it.
me
But
too.
at this
Because now we
moment, it
get to
was
see beautiful
really,
art.
oh, thank you. And I can see so much
Mm.
beautiful art as
No.
well. I mean,
Mm.
this is so inspiring
Oh,
to see all
I
all the art out there.
yes. Okay, so back to our illustration of the journey, right? I am seeing you standing there with your backpack. It's packed, it's ready. And that first post was like you saying, okay, let's go for it, right? It's so
Yes.
cute. It's just,
It
it's so beautiful.
it was really like, I don't know if I can manage it. I don't know where the road ends. I don't
Yeah.
know. And
Oh.
yeah, this is an
And now
adventure.
yes, you've had a beautiful adventure, right? You've had so
Yeah.
many projects that you've been able to be involved in and classes
Yes.
and yeah, just you are on a beautiful creative adventure.
Yes. Yes. And
Mm.
I'm so thankful for that, to have the opportunity to share it, and yeah, to be part of the Get Messy community. This is really exciting for me and a big honor, Claudette, really.
Oh, yes, I know. I know the feeling, right? When you there's just certain things like big goals that you have for yourself and for your creativity. And so when things like that happen, it's just a, an affirmation that you are on the right path and that you are using your creativity in the best way possible.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me for this chat. It has been such a fun conversation, and I absolutely love this analogy that we've come up with. We have to patent it, it's ours now. And I think people need to go and take some time and visualize themselves as that little art journaling adventurer packing her bag and getting ready to go on a wild adventure.
Yes. Thank you so much, Claudette, for the invitation and for the lovely chat. I really had fun, and you made me um, um, be able. You enabled me to let go of the excitement and just go with the chat. And
Mm.
I felt really, really comfy chatting with you.
Oh. Oh, thank you so much. And it's been such a pleasure. And I can't wait to see all of the adventures that you're going to have in 2025.
No, there are gonna be more.
Absolutely. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there watching you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Keep well.